So you want to main Sylvanus, Keeper of the Wild. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main Sylvanus? He can keep your buddies alive. He's just so wholesome. Even though his tree is cute, he can be pretty scary. He's great in both laning phase and team fights. But before you main Sylvanus, it's good to know the cons of him. He has a strong counter that can hit his team pretty hard. He doesn't have any mobility. Sylvanus is a Smite Roman Guardian. Smite has classified him as an average guard, and I find him easy. If you're an experienced Sylvanus player or you just love playing him, feel free to leave any of your own tips down in the comments below. In this guide, we're going to go through Sylvanus as a support, going through his abilities, attack cancelling, combos, builds, counters, what not to do, and general combat tips. And you can easily apply this guide into other game modes as well outside of Conquest. With that, let's go through his abilities. Sylvanus passive, Nature's Protection. Enemies that successfully land a melee basic attack on Sylvanus have a 25% chance to be rooted for 1 second. This may happen once every 12 seconds. Sylvanus' basic attacks hit enemies in an AoE. This makes it a bit risky for melee gods to basic attack you if the fight is not in their favor. Sylvanus' first ability, Verdant Growth. Sylvanus' one is a ground target. Sylvanus throws a seed to a target location. If it hits an enemy, they will take damage, lose protections, and become rooted. If the seed lands on the ground, after 5 seconds, it will grow into a flower. This flower will provide MP5 to nearby allies. The pod can be destroyed by basic attacks. You can put up to a maximum of 3 pods on the ground. If the pod is destroyed, it will explode and release poisonous spores that reduce protections of nearby enemies. This ability is his main CC, damage, and clear. It's great to leave some nearby at tower for your allies to receive MP5. You can also stand in it during the laning phase to give you an MP5 advantage. Feel free to go onto enemies who destroy it and are affected by the poison, but make sure you do it when you know it's safe to engage. Some enemies might purposely destroy it to bait you out when their jungler is nearby. Sylvanus' second ability, Wisp. Sylvanus' 2 is a ground target. Sylvanus releases wisps that seek out nearby allied and enemy gods. Allies are healed and protected. Enemies, however, take damage over time. This ability is a great sustain ability. Remember that this ability gives your allies protections. A lot of people tend to think that this only heals allies. This ability does not work on minions. Sylvanus' third ability, Nature's Grasp. Sylvanus' 3 is a ground target. Sylvanus launches his Rudy hand out in front of him. The hand stops at the first enemy god hit, stunning them and pulling them back towards him. This ability is also a great CC, but it's very hard to hit. A lot of inexperienced Sylvanuses will tend to use this without their first ability and always miss. This ability is really hard to hit, so I do recommend comboing it with your first ability. It is still possible to be really good at hitting this ability without it, but it will take a bit of time or unless you're just really good at predicting enemy movements. Sylvanus' ultimate, Wrath of Terror. Sylvanus' ultimate is a ground target. Sylvanus slams his large trunks into the ground. Enemies hit are knocked up and poisoned. Sylvanus is immune to CC for a short duration after using this ability. This ability is great in team fights. Make sure your teammates are ready when using this ability as they will need to follow up. Now let's get into the leveling priority for Sylvanus' abilities. Sylvanus has 2 different pathways. An aggressive pathway for the first 5 levels. At level 1, his 1. At level 2, his 3. At level 3, his 2. At level 4, his 1. At level 5, his ultimate. For leveling priority, his 1 for increased damage and reduced protections and cooldowns. His 2 for increased damage, heal, and protections. His ultimate for increased damage. His 3 for decreased cooldowns. So basically, 1, 2, 4, 3. I would go this pathway if you can be aggressive and your teammates are not too reliant on your sustain. For a more sustainable pathway, and the pathway I highly recommend for newer Sylvanus players, for the first 5 levels, at level 1, his 1, at level 2, his 2, at level 3, his 3, at level 4, his 2, at level 5, his ultimate. For leveling priority, 2, 1, 4, 3. Attack cancelling on Sylvanus. Attack cancelling allows for some extra basic attack damage, which means you can get more damage off in the time you're waiting for the attack animation to complete. This isn't mandatory to do. With his first ability on quick cast, as soon as you use your basic attack, use your first ability.
Just smoosh it in.
Combos for Sylvanus. Before we get into combos, a few pointers. Remember that his third ability is really hard to hit without his first ability. Only do this if you're confident you can land your third ability by itself, or if your first ability is down and you have no time to wait. Blink works with his ultimate. Use your basics as much as you can, even in between combos at times. Some of these combos you can do in a different order, such as the full combos I will be showing you. For short combos, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. For medium combos, 1, 3, 2. For full combos, 1, 3, 4, 2. Blink or without blink, 4, 3, 1, 2. A more advanced combo, 4 basics. As soon as they hit the ground, 1 basic pull, 2. This way you can get more damage out while maximizing CC time. Builds for Sylvanus. Builds always depend on what kind of enemy you're up against. My builds in this video is just a general guideline. You can adjust accordingly depending on your game and situation. For a support build, Guardian's Blessing, Reinforced Shoes, Sovereignty, Oni Hunter's Garb, Lotus Crown, Spirit Robe, Bulwark of Hope. Of course, this is not a build you can build every time, and it is very dependent on what your team needs and what kind of enemy you're up against. Other items you can build are Rod of Asclepius, Mantle of Discord if you're dying in team fights a lot, Heart Ward if against a lot of magical, Magi's Cloak if CC is a huge problem, Gem of Isolation to slow enemies, Wing Blade if slows are a problem. For relics, it's always game dependent, but relics that are commonly picked up on Sylvanus are Heavenly Wings, Blink for aggressive plays, and Magic Shell. Counters of Sylvanus. Sylvanus is heavily countered by Cursed Unk. Watch out not to use your healing ability when this is used. He has no mobility, so if your teammates don't follow up or you're out of position, you're easy to stack on. Anti-heal items counter his heals. What not to do as Sylvanus. Do not go up on your own. Remember, he's just so immobile. Do not go in without your teammates. If you're inexperienced and not that great at predicting enemy movements, do not use your pull without your first ability. I've seen many Sylvanus players do it, and they just always miss most of the time. Tips for Sylvanus. Remember that your first ability gives your allies MP5. I will show you a clip here on how to help out your other allies outside of the duo lane. As soon as you load into the game, run straight down to the mid or solo lane. At the tower, drop a pod somewhere where the enemy can't destroy it. As soon as you do that, go back to base and proceed as normal. Make use of his pods. Remember to put them somewhere on the ground for you and your ally for increased MP5, not just for hitting enemies. When you can, try to aggress on enemies who have the poison on them. The ward bait. Put a ward where the enemy can see it, for example, during lane or under tower. When the enemy is focused on clearing the ward, use your pull on them. I wouldn't do this all the time as it does take gold and it's not guaranteed kill, but more of just a simple, fun tip if you want to try it. Positioning is important with Sylvanus. He has no mobility, so he can get plucked out pretty easily. If you're having trouble escaping from enemies, grab Heavenly Wings. This helps him escape from enemies much easier due to his lack of mobility. And that is all for the Sylvanus guide. Just to let you guys know, I'll be streaming at www.twitch.tv/superteeds. I'll be streaming Smite, Pokemon Let's Go, and Fallout 76. So I hope you can drop by and hang out. Any comments and likes would be super rad. Let me know down in the comments on who you'd like to main next. Feel free to subscribe and click the bell if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I'm really sorry for not uploading during the week. I'm now back from HRX and the event was amazing and fun, and I might do a video of my experience there just to fill you in guys how it was, and if you want to go maybe next year, I think it's really worth it, but we'll save that for another video. I'll catch you for the next one. Bye!